let's review some factoring. Why not even just start with a factoring joke worksheet? It's going to mix them, it's going to match them. We got to know how to factor to do the next section. We're adding, subtracting, simplifying, multiplying, dividing, rational expressions. You have to be a pro factorer in order to do that. So let's start with number one. Why not? You know what I'm saying? So we'll factor them. We'll see what answer matches up with that on the back side, and then that letter will go on the blank. So when we solve number one, and let's say it matches up with the letter A, then on the blank for number one up top, we would put an A, if that's the case. I don't know what it is. All right. So number one, 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. You always want to check for greatest common factor first. And there isn't one except for 1, but we can ignore 1 because that won't help us. So then, if you do have an a number in front of the x squared, you're going to multiply it by the last number, the c. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Now remember, if you are going to multiply to get a negative, it would have to be a positive times a negative. So we know it's going to be x plus something times x minus something. We need factors of 24 that are 2 apart from each other. They'll add up to 2 because one's positive, one's negative. So if we're thinking of 24, it's 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, or 4 times 6. Which set is 2 apart? 4 and 6. So to make them add up to positive 2, it has to be plus 6 minus 4. But one more step on this, we have to try to divide it by a, the number in front. So we're going to try to divide them by 3. Now 6 divided by 3 is 2. So x plus 2. 4 over 3, you can't simplify that anymore. So you take that denominator, the 3, and you just kick it to the front. So 3x minus 4. Now there's other ways to do that kind of problem. That is the most efficient, what I think is the most easy way to do that type of problem. You can factor by grouping, split that 2x into positive 6x, negative 4x, and then factor by grouping. You can guess and check, but that kind of becomes inefficient. So see what letter that matches up with on the back. Let's see. Number one matches up with G. So you would write a G on the line for number one at the top. All right, number two, 25x squared minus 1. Now you will see those are both perfect squares, things that we can square root, and there's a minus in the middle, which means we have a difference of squares here. So the square root of 25x is 5x, or 25x squared. The square root of 1 is 1. So this would factor to 5x plus 1 times 5x minus 1. If you were to FOIL this out, those middle terms end up canceling out, so you would end up with 25x squared minus 1. Number 3. Now you can do this the way we did number 1. You can multiply 16 times 1, see which factors get you that negative 8 in the middle, or see if you have a perfect square trinomial here. Can you square root 16x squared? Yeah, it's 4x. Can you square root the last term? 1. Sure, the square root of 1 is 1. So it might be a perfect square trinomial. Now the symbol in the middle would have to be the first symbol, because the last one is always plus with these. So it'd have to be minus, but you're going to want to check for that middle term. That middle term should be what you get when you multiply 4x times negative 1 and then multiply by 2. So 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x times 2 will give you negative 8x. Great. So I feel like we started with the most difficult one, and we're gradually getting easier. We're going to do number 4, and then we'll hop to the back side and try it. Now this one ends in plus, so they need to both be the same sign. They either need to both be plus, both be minus. If they add up to negative 5, they would have to both be minus. You're not going to have two positive numbers that add up to a negative number. Now if we're thinking of the factors of 6, our options are 1 and 6, or 2 and 3. Which set will give us 5? And they have to add up to 5 because the last number is plus. So this would be negative 2 and negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Negative 2 plus negative 3 would give you that negative 5. Now that one's dicey because 6 and 1 are 5 apart. but because it ends in plus, they have to add up to 5. So if that was minus 6 at the back, if it was x squared minus 5x minus 6, then we would use 6 and 1. So it would be x minus 6 times x plus 1, because negative 6 times 1 is negative 6, negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. And something like that might happen later on this worksheet. So hop over to the back side, and let's go down a little bit, looking for ones where there's a common factor. All right, number 20. 10x squared, 22x, and 12. They have a common factor of 2, so we have to take out that GCF first. 2 times 5x squared would give us 10x squared. 2 times negative 11x would give us that negative 22x. And 2 times 6 would give us that 12. So the 2 on the outside we can kind of ignore until the end of the problem. So we're going to multiply 5 times 6 is 30. And it's positive, so they need to both be the same sign. If they add up to negative 11, they would have to both be minus. So it'll be x minus. We need factors of 30 that add up to 11. We just used them, 5 and 6. We have to try to divide by the a, the number in front of the x squared. Remember, simplify the fraction if you can first before you kick something to the front. But you can't simplify 6/5 at all. So we'll just take the 5 and move it to the front. 5x minus 6. Here, 5 divided by 5 is just 1. And that would be our final answer. I feel like we should do one more. Let me find one where it's just almost ridiculous. They're all kind of not bad for a pro like you. Let's do 25. And then I think you can do the rest. No problemo. 40x squared plus 32x plus 6. Do they have a common factor? Yes, of course. 2 goes into all of these. So 2 times 20x squared will give us 40x squared. 2 times 16x gives us 32x. And 2 times 3 gives us 6. All right. We do our 20 times 3, which is 60. And it's positive. So they need to both be the same signs. In this case, they add up to positive 16, so that would both be plus. X plus, x plus. Now, usually I find it helpful to list all the factors of 60 and find ones that add up to 16. So 1 times 60, those don't add up to 16. 2 times 30, 3 times 20, 4 times 15, 5 times 12, and 6 times 10. The only set that adds up to 16 are 6 and 10. Plus 6, plus 10. We have to try to divide them by, in this case, the 20. Now 6/20ths can be simplified. Those are both divisible by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And then we'll kick the 10 to the front. 10/20ths just simplifies to 1/2. Now we'll bring the 2 to the front. So we have the 2 as the greatest common factor. This set of parentheses, we got 10x plus 3. And then this other set of parentheses, we have 2x plus 1. That's as bad as they're going to get. And that was a doozy. So you got this?